Who ready? Who is ready? We are live. It's your daily dose of Dr. Pinesett. What up, y'all? First of all, I want to say I appreciate people who get up early with me and are on here. I know that these lives are disappearing rapidly after I do them, but I'm glad that we're doing them. The messages you guys have been sending me have been awesome, and the feedback, so I appreciate that. Keep sending feedback, keep sending questions. And today we're going to talk a little bit, and it's good that Atalia's on here, because we're going to talk a little bit about med school interview. And we're going to talk about what it takes to be successful in a medical school interview. And it's very simple, but it's very hard at the same time. So who is applying this cycle? Who is ever thinking about applying to anything? CCL says, luckily it's 8 9 a.m. on the East Coast. Who is thinking about applying to med school even one day, right? Who's worried about the medical school interview? And what I want to say to you guys, the key to really, really crushing that medical school interview, which people fail to understand often and result in a medical school interview failure, is that when it comes to medical school interviewing, you're only there because the school thinks that you're good enough to be there. They invest a lot of money to interview you, to have you come there. Kenneth, what's up? Good morning. Bishal, what up? First day of classes at VA, whoop whoop, right? Medical schools are only inviting you because they feel you are competent, you are qualified to be there. So when you get to an interview, you should feel comfortable and confident knowing that they like you, right? And every time I say that, I think of the movie Hitch and Will Smith, right? And he's like, it'd be hard to say, I like you. I like you. You can't just say that. When medical schools invite you for an interview, they're telling you, I like you. All you have to do is not mess it up. Right? Does that make sense? Like, you are in the money. They like you. They want to date you. Just don't put your foot in your mouth. And as part of that, one of the more common mistakes that these students make is that they forget who they are and they try to be other people. And when you try to be someone else, when you try to be too smart for your own good, when you try to be too sophisticato for your own good, right? When you try to be too whatever it is, that is not you. It comes off as fake. It comes off as disingenuous. It comes off as not fluid. And it comes off as unattractive, right? No one wants to be with a fake person. And for medical schools who have a bunch of people there who are all qualified to be there, who they like, what they're looking for is people to talk themselves out of an admission. If you want to stand out, be you and recognize, right, to be you and to be comfortable being you, you first must recognize that being you is sufficient. And being confident and comfortable with the fact of saying, listen, I am a good person. I am a great person. I do have something to offer this medical school. I don't have to BS. I don't have to lie to them. I don't have to trick them into liking me. Right? It's like dating. Why you got to put on all this stuff? Like, be you. If you can't show up and show out as yourself, why would you want to date that person anyway? Right? You know what I'm talking about? Everybody got like, I feel like everybody got like their date persona. Just be like, why can't we all just be each other? Right? Why not just make your real life person good enough to date? And it's the same thing for medical schools. If you're doing a bunch of activities you don't care about, if you haven't figured out who you are and why you truly want to be a doctor for you, and instead you know why everyone else is saying you should be a doctor, and you know why your family wants you to be a doctor, and you know why, but if you haven't figured those things out, you're in trouble when it comes to the interview. So if you can think about those things, think about who you are and what medicine means to you, and it can be your answer, then it's much more powerful. And the way this comes about is in a couple ways, in that people try to say the same cookie cutter things that everyone else says, right? You're trying to mimic what you've seen other people do. Oh, that's what they said, and they said that went well for them, so I'm going to try to do exactly what they did. And that's a big mistake because you're forcing something that isn't organic. And you're going to force yourself in the moment that's already a high-pressure situation. You got to try to remember, oh, wait, what was I supposed to say? Like, oh, it was like this. As opposed to if you just speak from your person and from your actual persona, it's much easier, it's much less stressful, and you aren't scrambling to remember what you should say. You're just saying what you actually should say. And, right, and 𝐖𝐞𝐥𝐸𝐸 says, I learned that the hard way. Well, what happened? Tell us a story. While I keep talking. Good morning, Sabrina, right? So the quote is, originality does not consist of saying what no one has ever said before, but in saying exactly what you think yourself. That's James Stephen. Should I say it again? Originality does not consist in saying what no one has ever said before, but in saying exactly what you think yourself. Right? Who can get with that? Who understands what I'm saying there? Right? That James Stephen quote. Some of you guys fail in the admissions process because you think originality is trying to come up with this far-fetched thing. Or you think originality is copying what someone else did to get in. That's not originality. Originality is being you and saying, even if it's the same thing everyone else says, but saying it in your own unique voice. Right? For you guys who follow me, I may say something that you hear somewhere else. But does it sound unique? Does it sound original? Is it uniquely me, the way I say it? Right? Even today, right? The overall arching message is be yourself. But I think that we have to think about be yourself in a different way because people say it to you and you aren't grasping it. What I'm trying to tell you is stop trying to be someone else, which is different. Stop trying to copycat everyone else. Stop trying to outsmart the room and outsmart yourself and dumping your admission. All you have to do is go in there and be you and be uniquely you, and you're going to be successful in the medical school interview. And the hard part, guys, right, is in this society of social media and posing, we have forgotten how great it is to just be us. We have forgotten, for some of us, who we are. Right? In all the pre-med hustle, you've forgotten what you're about. Right? Let's see what 𝐖𝐞𝐥𝐸𝐸's story is. I tried to compare myself to people studying for the MCAT in med school because they had a timeline and I didn't. The timeline I was trying to copy was not the best for me and not realistic. And that's a common one, y'all. That is a common one. So one gap year now might turn into 3 years for me, and I'm okay with that. Right? And that's the other thing that people happen. Like, oh, I have to apply this year because everyone else is applying this year. And if I don't apply this year, I'm giving up because this is the timeline that everyone else is on. And then, right, what happens? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is be original, be yourselves in your interview. And the way to do that is more complicated than it sounds because you guys aren't used to doing it. And so what I encourage you guys to do is to become educated about the interview process, and get practice reps in as much as you can. And one way to do that, and the reason this came up, was that I started my mock interview bootcamp yesterday for my inside VIP people. But if you guys want to enroll in my interview bootcamp, it's 50% off this week. It's a great deal. It's a great opportunity to spend tons of hours with me doing mock interviews, and then also to learn my complete interview system where you actually have a plan of attack and you've understood how to develop your personal narrative and be yourself and push yourself forward. So I highly encourage you guys to click the link in my bio, right? Click the link below and check out my medical school interview bootcamp and see if it's for you. It's an awesome opportunity to get affordable, high-value interview prep. Okay, so let me throw that out there for you guys. Right, now as I say that, let's transition to the other mistake that people make in terms of trying to be themselves, is that people psych themselves out. How many of you guys have been in an experience, you've had an opportunity, and you've psyched yourself out before that opportunity? Who knows what I'm talking about? Kenneth, you know what I'm talking about? Birdman, what up? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? How many of you guys have ever realized after the fact that you've mentally psyched yourself out before an opportunity even started and it cost you your performance? Teacher says yes, right? You guys know what I'm saying right now? Like the video, comment yes, say something to let me know I'm not crazy. I'm not in the vacuum. I'm not the only person who's ever psyched myself out and talked myself out of greatness. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up and some yeses. Thank you. Right? We have experienced that, and that is our tendency, and that is our default, to be worried, to be anxious. Right? That's why some people are so miserable in this world today. And I don't know if you guys saw the Dave Chappelle stand-up special, but I watched it yesterday, and it's so fire. It's so fire, and people are going to be angry about it, and I love it. People are going to be angry about it, and I love it. And that's it. And actually, let's talk about, that's the perfect example. is Dave Chappelle knows exactly who he is and what he believes in and what he stands for, and he brings it every single time, consistently. And if people don't like it, people don't have to like it. But by being himself, he's created a career for himself and a unique persona for himself to stand out amongst the crowd of comedians. Same thing with Kevin Hart, right? Like, I'm not a Kevin Hart fan. Like, I'm not gonna. I've tried to watch his specials. I don't get it. Like, it's not for me. Like, his little man humor doesn't translate for me, and the fact that he plays the same character in every movie is not for me. But he's clear on who he is and what he brings to the table, and so that creates a brand for him. And so you guys should be doing the same thing. But to bring that back the other direction, and Birdman's right ahead of me talking about this here, is that we want to not psych ourselves out. Instead, we want to be ready. And the way we can feel confident, the way we can feel certain for things, is to get reps in. Because if you guys think about your lives, you're only nervous, you're only anxious about the things that you have very little experience in, that you have very little time spent preparing for. So what I encourage you guys to do, right, if you want to have that level of confidence, if you want to take that anxiety down, is do two things. The first thing is get lots of preparation reps in so you feel very comfortable talking about yourself. And what I tell my students is that they need to go out and talk to people about themselves. How many of you guys talk to strangers every day? I'd say close to zero, right? Because that's uncomfortable. But what if every single day leading up to your interviews, you went out and you practiced your talking points? You went around practice talking about yourself and who you are and what you have to offer and what you're about in this world and what you're passionate about. Wouldn't you be more prepared for a medical school interview? Wouldn't you feel more comfortable delivering what you have to deliver? Right? The second part of that is, like I think it was 𝐖𝐞𝐥𝐸 just said, you guys want to get in control of your mind. And one way to do that is to practice some mindfulness. So Brent actually sent me a message yesterday talking about his meditation session and how he was a little distracted about Norbit. So I want you guys to start practicing controlling that mind, controlling your thoughts, and being in the present moment, not worrying about the future, right? Not agonizing over the past, being in the moment. Because that interview is your moment. That is your opportunity to seize the day. Right? That's your opportunity to seize the day. Now I'll pull in Kundi's comment here that says, scared that I'll sound like I'm bragging and not humble. Well, the way that you sound like it doesn't matter if you're bragging or if you're humble. Right? Because what you're trying to do is be you. And the difference between sounding like you're bragging and sounding like you're telling the truth is being authentic. So if you go in there and try to list off all your credentials, try to list off all your accomplishments, that's bragging. But if you are you and you're just letting them know who you are and why you've been able to have those experiences and those successes and the characteristics that you uniquely have, it's not bragging, it's just what it is. Right? And we have to understand the difference between that. Telling our story and being us is what we are. And so you should never feel like, oh, I can't say who I am. I can't tell my story because I might be bragging. No. It's bragging if you list your credentials. It's bragging. But if you tell your story and you actually use story and you talk to them like a human being, who wouldn't want to hear about success? Success is sexy. Right? Nothing sells like success? Success is sexy. Right? Ladies, you love a successful man. Woo, he's successful. He got a job, right? Guys, you love a successful woman. Man, look how powerful she is. Look at that confidence she's exuding. We love it. So why would success, it's only bragging, right? If you're trying to put someone down, but if you're talking about yourself and you're being genuine, this is what I believe. I'm very proud of my accomplishments. It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? All right. So that's what I have to say. You're welcome, Kundi. That's what I have to say about medical school interviewing this morning. And I encourage you guys, like I said, I've got an entire course and I've got a medical school interview bootcamp that is going down right now. It's 50% off this week, guys. It's an incredible deal. Check out the link in my bio. It's an awesome opportunity for you guys to get high-level interview strategies that you won't find anywhere else and to get actual real practice with someone. Like last night, we just did almost 3 hours of prep. And everyone unanimously was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is amazing! How it's opened up like a new perspective on what interviewing is." So please check that out. Courses.premedproductivity.com is the place where you can go to get that, and then my link is in the bio. And I'll see you guys. Well, actually, I won't see you guys tomorrow. I apologize. I'll be on a red-eye flight. I have an event out in Orlando, so I'll be out flying overnight, and then I'll be doing an event tomorrow in Orlando. But I'll be back with you guys Thursday morning, and I'll see you guys Thursday morning. We'll get back at it. So everyone have a wonderful and a fantastic day. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me for your daily dose of Dr. Pinesett, and I will see you guys Thursday morning, and then hopefully I will see you guys in my interview boot camp. Later, guys.